While I was on vacation, I was sent a tweet from Flair Guy.
I wanted to do this seriously, but in order to get a decent bit outside of the Rance series, I need to use gacha games or consider the hyper weapon a character. There's rules against time-limited events, but none against dicks that canonically have a mind of their own.
Although he did implicitly say that his Ryu Number thing was not serious, my mind was consumed with the thought of how Rance, the protagonist of the oldest continually running erotic game, is connected to Ryu, the protagonist of the oldest modern fighting game. In case if you don't know, the Ryu Number is a way of measuring relationship distance where the unit of measurement are percentages. It is kinda like the meme where everyone is at most 6 people away from being connected to Kevin Bacon, or a video game version of the erotic number. The whole Ryu Number thing is just a fun trivia game that makes unfamiliar associations through familiar means. The official rules of determining Ryu numbers are 1. Video games only. This is to keep the game more grounded, preventing the navigation of boundaries of fictional, fictionalized, and real people, more than you have to already with video games. 2. Commercial works only. This is to keep stuff like Mugen out of the picture, because as a framework for fighting games, literally everyone's in it and it kinda spoils the whole point of the game. 3. No time limited character access. I am not too sure why limited time characters are excluded. The official reason is that FOMO is bad, but that has nothing to do with characters' relationship to Ryu, as they still do appear in that game. However, I would still respect the rule and abide by it. And 4. Identifiably unique individuals. I am actually not too sure what this means. I think it's supposed to mean that it's clear that the character appears, but I'm not too sure. There are some fringe cases of counting if characters count as appearing or not, but I'll go over them when I come across them. Hopefully the people watching this know who Rance is, but just in case, Rance is the titular protagonist of the Rance series. The overall stories of these games are based around Rance's adventures throughout the continent, saving kingdoms, defeating demons, and sometimes conquering. While Rance himself is not necessarily a good guy, his actions and antics are extremely interesting and entertaining. It's part of the reason why his series has lasted 29 years. And yes, he is that one guy from the 4-episode fantasy hentai that Heart made a shiju fap on. My first thought after reading the Ryu Number rules was, what about Oda Nobunaga from Sengoku Rance? The rules state that if a character is directly based on X and is called X but considerable creative liberties have been taken, they, why not both appear? Yeah, very helpful Ryu Number. I'll just take it as a yes, they do appear. So Rance is connected to Oda Nobunaga from Sengoku Rance, the 7th game in the Rance series, which takes the form of a territory control strategy game where you try and unite Japan. And then we can just use the Ryu Number of Oda that Kolin Chasm already made, since both characters are based on Oda Nobunaga and are called Oda Nobunaga, but considerable creative liberties have been taken. This gives Rance a Ryu Number of 3, right? Rance to Oda Nobunaga from Sengoku Rance, Oda to Arceus from Pokemon Conquest, and then Arceus from Ryu from Smash Ultimate. However, like I said, this was my initial thoughts. We can reduce this number even more and make some corrections. First thing first, corrections. Sengoku Rance's Oda Nobunaga isn't really Oda Nobunaga. He's actually Oda's second oldest child, that name. While he did take up the name of Oda Nobunaga, he differs greatly from the historical person that appears in many video games, with his sickly body, friendly and passive behavior, and past meekness. I say he's too ahistorical to count as historical Nobunaga with some artistic changes, being Oda Nobunaga in name only. His father was the real Oda Nobunaga, but he doesn't appear in Sengoku Rance. He's only mentioned. However, he did appear in the series a decade before Sengoku Rance's release. 1996's key Brutal King Rance was the 7th game released in the Rance series and asks the question, what if Rance became a king? And in that game, the island nation of Japan makes an appearance, and it's led by their emperor, Oda Nobunaga. While I myself have not gotten far enough in Brutal King to experience Oda for myself, from what I've heard and from the wiki page, he does seem to be the historical Oda Nobunaga with some extra flares added, like being a literal demon king. This overall doesn't change the Ryu Number itself, but does make it so that Rance is connected to Oda Nobunaga from Brutal King Rance rather than Sengoku Rance. Something that Kolin Chasm seemed to overlook in his Oda Ryu Number is that the character of Oda Nobunaga has appeared in a game with Ryu. Teppen. Teppen is a free-to-play digital card game that pits characters across Namco properties against each other. The Oda Nobunaga that appears in this game is the one from Sengoku Basura, which was added to the game in September 18, 2020 with the Tales of Amatsu no Kuni expansion set. And everyone starts with Ryu when they launch the game. This is fine with the rules since there's no FOMO here since it's a card game where you can always buy the Amatsu no Kuni set to get Oda Nobunaga, or just disenchant cards to craft him. This makes Rance's optimal Ryu number 2, from Rance to Oda Nobunaga from Brutal King Rance, then Oda Nobunaga to Ryu from Teppen. I had plenty of other paths laid out, like connecting Rance to Dona Dona and then using Muse Dash, or using Kenshin's appearance in the original EU Senki, and I even tried to one relation with the Chaos TCG and Lycee. Although the first two are way too non-optimal and felt like dead ends, and I think one relation is not possible since Street Fighter doesn't appear in Lycee or Chaos TCG. Overall, this was an extremely fun trivia exercise, and I highly recommend others to try and find the Ryu numbers of some of their own favorite characters. Special thanks to Flair for inspiring the creation of this video and voicing himself. You can find him on Twitter and YouTube, and if you love the Rance series, check out his Sengoku Rance mod, Darkness Hero Rance.